month plus of the season is upon us, and there is no doubt which team has been the biggest thorn in the side of the Phils in 2015. A different arm and a different bat seem to find a way every meeting to send the Phils home with the short straw. The New York Mets are the hottest team to watch in the division, and the Phils, well, they need to find a way out from under the frying pan. Phillies fans who have ventured up to Citi Field for the series between the Phils and the Mets, they have to be feeling somewhat optimistic that this streak is finally going to end tonight. It's game 2 of a 3-game series. The Phils have lost 10 straight to the New York Mets. The Mets have won 13 of 14 games in this season series, including 10 in a row. The only win was won by Cole Hamels when he went 7 innings, allowed just 1 earned run. Look at the difference, though, in numbers. Just drastic. The Phillies have struck out 101 times, the Mets 63. The pitching numbers are the ones that really turn your head. The starters for the Phils, an ERA over 6. The bullpen, an ERA also over 6. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Ben Davis. All right, so we get set for tonight's ball game, and we wonder what has changed in the New York Mets since the beginning of the year, and really since the end of July. They're 6.5 games up over the Washington Nationals. Their pitching has been really good, but quite frankly, it's been their offense that has been able to help them through this streak.
They added some bats, and they got some bats back from the disabled list. I really like Conforto. Giving David Wright, the captain, back in the lineup means an awful lot to the Mets. And overall, these guys are swinging the bats and swinging them really, really well.
57 home runs since the 25th of July. They're 24-10. The Nationals cannot keep pace. They lost last night when they had a lead against the Cardinals, so that's why they're 6.5 games back. All right, so here are the guys that have really aided the Mets offensively. Conforto last night had a couple hits, including this opposite field home run.
And he's a guy that was just drafted last year. First-round pick out of Oregon State. I like what I see out of him. Good to go line to line. We saw that last night in the Granny Man. Well, Curtis Granderson's not going to miss that pitch. Right down the middle, and he puts them up. 3-0 last evening. That's all really Bartolo Colon needed.
Jared Eichhoff made a few bad pitches. Pete Buchanan thought that was one of them. He also thought the one to Bartolo Colon allow him to get on base was another one of those bad pitches. All right, from a Phillies standpoint, we head into the month of September. A good July, mediocre August. Can they finish strong to get higher in the standings?
They can. They absolutely can. And this Mets ball club, they just need to find a way to get a victory on the board tonight and hopefully again tomorrow. But yes, they can do it. I like the arms that they've brought up. They've been throwing the ball well. They've added a little bit of bullpen help for, I think, which is a bullpen that is already pretty tired. These guys have thrown a lot of innings. And the bats we've seen are starting to come around as well. So that's definitely something that can help them win some ball games in the months of September.
All right, so July is the only month that they're above 500. Can they make another 500-plus month here in September? Tonight's starting pitchers, Aaron Harang. He has struggled lately. Start number 24, Jonathan East. Start number 26. When we return, we'll go to the Comcast Sportsnet studios. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Toyota. Where will Toyota take you? Visit buyattoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. Buy Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Buy Citizens Bank, one deposit checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. Buy Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phils. Buy Budweiser, still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. And buy Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at IBX.com. For game 2 of this 3-game series, Jonathan Nice is warming up out on the mound for the New York Mets. Let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup for tonight's ball game. It is brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Darnell Sweeney leads it off at center field. Cesar Hernandez bats second. Aaron Altair hits third, followed by Jeff Francoeur and Darren Ruff. Andres Blanco is over at third base. He'll bat sixth in the bottom third of Ruiz, Galvis, and Aaron Harang. And of course, they will face left-hander Jonathan Nice, who's had a heck of a run against the Phils. Overall, he's 8-9 this year with a 3.95 earned run average. Benny has not lost to the Phillies in his last 8 starts. His last time that he lost was back in April of 2013. It's an okay year. I mean, considering all the young pitchers that are around him, they need a left-hander. And Matz is back with them, but this guy is a seasoned veteran.
He is a seasoned veteran, and he gives the Phillies fits. As we take a look at the Budweiser scouting report, he will touch 90, maybe 91. He's a 5-pitch pitcher, and he has a very good career against Philly. 10-6 with a 2.97. So hopefully the righties can do some damage today.
Well, Darnell Sweeney will lead things off for the Phillies. Darnell getting a chance to start today for Odubel Herrera in center field. I said, Odubel, you've got the day off. He goes, I've been benched, which is obviously not the case, but he does have the day off. 1 ball and no strikes to Sweeney, who in the big leagues hitting .214, 2 home runs, 3 runs batted in. That one is hit in the air to right field. Granderson over toward the line. He has room in fair territory. Just a couple of pitches, one away here in the first. And Cesar Hernandez is coming up. Cesar 2 for 4 last night with a run scored. That raised his August average up to 245 as the month came to a close. Hitting .267 overall. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. That one's back toward the middle, a base hit for Cesar. A nice way to start his day here at Citi Field.
We got a couple last night, left-handed. Goes up tonight. Smokes ball in the middle. That was loud. Good swing there.
Now the other part of the game for Cesar is, can he get his wheels going? You know, he has stolen 19 bases, but it's been quiet lately for him. Altair, .256 hitter, chops it towards shortstop. It's going to be tough for them to turn 2. Oh, it's dropped by Murphy. That happens more often than not, where Murphy makes plays like that. It'll be an E4. And a fielder's choice for Altair.
It'll probably go down as an E4, but honestly, not the best throw by Tejada there. Kind of caught him off guard, but you see, you can never do anything athletically flat-footed. And that's exactly the way Daniel Murphy was there. Of course, he's also expecting to throw at his chest. This is the big leagues.
Got to expect the least expected. And Jeff Francoeur fouls it back. Francoeur was 0 for 4 last night, including hitting into a double play. The man with the best beard in baseball, as it was self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed
today. He never answered me about what that little, you know, there's a spot between his hair and the beard. The sideburns in the beard, a little bit of a white spot there.
He were trimmed up his sideburns, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I guess so. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant for tonight is Shirley Kaluk of Levittown, Pennsylvania. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game. Then Shirley is going to walk away with a couple $100.
Good luck, Shirley.
Back to the box. It's caught by Nice. Cesar's off the bag, and he is out. Unfortunately, I think you have to add that to the list of base running blunders by Cesar Hernandez. That ball was hit pretty softly back to the mound. He should have frozen a little earlier, but Aaron Harang's night will begin a little earlier. free agent at the end of this season, and Sandy Alderson's been asked a number of times, when are you going to re-sign him? He said at the end of the year. Let's take a look at his lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Granderson, Cespedes, and Murphy, followed by Reich, Conforto, and Kadire. The bottom third, D'Arnaud, Tejada, and Nice. They'll face Aaron Harang, who was ready to go against Curtis Granderson. First pitch is in there. It's 0-1. Granderson had a big blow in last night's ball game, a 2-run home run. A bit outside. There's the numbers on Aaron Harang. 24th start. 0-2 against the Mets so far this year. Hasn't won since the 30th of July. And he starts Granderson off ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Take a look at the Budweiser scouting report for Aaron Harang. Career 6 and 7 with a 4.18. 5-pitch pitcher. Sit around 90. He needs to work down.
Well, he worked down on that one. It's going to fly out towards center field, and Sweeney's under it. All right, Ben, it's time now for the Nissan keys to tonight's ball game.
Plain and simple for me. Get Nice out of the kitchen. He's a lefty that really likes to throw right-handers inside. So get him out of the kitchen, and Harang, like I just said, needs to work down and stay down. So what could happen when he elevates the baseball last week in Philadelphia against these same Mets?
Well, this is a guy he has to be careful with. It's Cespedes, who hit 375 during the, or 335, excuse me, during the month of August. He was 0 for 4 in last night's ball game. His overall numbers: 26 home runs, career high, 84 runs batted in. And Harang starts him off with a strike on the outer edge, 0-1. Does have 10 at bats against Aaron Harang for his career. He has 2 hits in those 10 at bats. Old foul. Up and in, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cespedes. Cespedes this year has hit 3 home runs against the Phillies. He's not the only one, though. There have been a handful of guys that have had multiple home run games against the Phillies this year from the New York Mets lineup. Jim Wolf is behind the plate tonight. Phil Cuzzi's over at first. Jerry Davis is at second. And Will Little, who had a pretty good night last night behind the plate, is around to third. One ball, 2 strikes to Cespedes. And he got him. 91 on that fastball. Ruiz hangs on, and they're 2 away. He went upstairs with it. Cespedes got a piece. During the 2015 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phils, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Here is Daniel Murphy, who hitting .345 against the Phillies in 2015. And he loops that one foul over the tarp. Had a play, 0-1. 6 extra base hits against Harang. No balls and 2 strikes.
Ball's in the air forever.
Should have asked her to marry her by that point. A big celebration going on. Popped him straight on up. Andres Blanco over at third base is under it. And the side is retired. Well, that's as easy a first inning as we've seen from Aaron Harang in a little while. He retires the Mets in order. On to the second. Darren Ruff will lead it off when we come back. 10th, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It's the final visit of the year for the Braves in Philadelphia. Tickets can be purchased anytime by going to Phillies.com. Darren Ruff will lead it off. Ruff hitting .235 with 6 home runs. He's in there against the left-hander because he's hitting .365 against lefties. Phillies, though, have to figure out a lot of things when it comes to playing the Mets, but they have to figure out how to beat Jonathan Nice. Over his last 8 starts, we mentioned since 2013. Nice play by Tejada. That is a fine play to his left sliding.
Thought it had enough just to get up the middle there, but Tejada gets to it, gets to his feet very quickly.
They really wet down the infield dirt here tonight.
No, Darren isn't the fleetest of foot, but Tejada, really nice job of getting to his feet. Watch how quickly he gets to his feet here. He's down, he's up, and delivers a nice strike to first base. First out of the inning.
There's a breaking ball to Andres Blanco. But we mentioned that they have to figure out how to beat Nice because he's 5-0 during the 8 starts since April of 2013 with a 2.24 earned run average. Kind of like Bartolo Colon, he hasn't had the same kind of success against other teams. He has 10 wins for his career against the Phillies, which is the most he's recorded against any team. He has 8 against the Atlanta Braves. But he's only got 60 wins for his career. He's 60-60. Well, there's a new old player for the Phillies, Eric Kratz. Can't believe he didn't somehow try to coax number 31 out of Jerome Williams. We're at number 28. He could have brought him some turkey bacon or something. Carlos Ruiz fouls it off to the right. Murph, is Kratzy excited to be back in a Phillies uniform?
He is very excited to be back in the Phillies uniform. I got a chance to talk with him before the game, and he never wanted to leave. He made that quite clear. He didn't want to leave, but he understands the business of baseball. The Phillies organization thought it was the best move when they sent him up to Toronto, and he bounced around from there. He was in Toronto. He was in Kansas City last year. He was part of a team that went to the World Series. He said that was a thrill, but he is so happy to be back in an organization that he feels extremely comfortable in. He played down there at the Lehigh Valley for a couple of weeks and now gets the call up here in September. So, yeah, it was great to see him, and he certainly is excited to be back in a Phillies uniform.
1-2 pitch is dribbled to the right of the mound. Nice has it. He's not going to throw it. He's going to tag Carlos Ruiz. So 1 unassisted on the ground out. Nothing across for the Phils. 1.5 in the books. After a quick breather, Aaron Harang goes back to work. Carlos Ruiz arrives out from the dugout. Mets getting a chance to face Harang for the second straight inning. It'll be David Wright to start things off, and Well, Murph, it seems like David Wright has helped, along with Cespedes, has really helped this team over the last several weeks continue to climb in the division.
It's, Tom, the resurgence of the New York Mets probably happening a little bit sooner than many people thought. It really started back in July when this team went on a roll and took over first place and have really, grabbed it and are running away with it. Take a look at where they were in July. They were in second place, 3.5 games behind Washington. But since then, they have gone on a tear. We've seen a lot of it, and they are now 6.5 games ahead of the Washington Nationals. And you're right, I talked to Kevin Long, their hitting coach, because, their pitching has been good pretty much all season long with these young guys that they have, these young arms they have. But their hitting has really come around over the last couple of months. I talked to Kevin Long today, had a good conversation. I asked him, well, what's different in the last 2 months that maybe wasn't there in the first 2 months? And he said, honestly, it's personnel. They got a couple of guys. You mentioned Cespedes. They got David Wright back. He's healthy now. They got d'Arnaud back. He is healthy now. They've added Juan Uribe. And he said, they just kind of moved the bottom up. A couple of guys that probably shouldn't have been here yet were on the team. And a nice tag right there. Oh, they're going to call him safe. Darren Ruff does not agree. But he said, they moved the bottom floor up by getting rid of a couple of guys that perhaps shouldn't have been here and adding some players that absolutely should be here. And he said the attitude in the clubhouse is it doesn't matter. Everybody knows they're not going to start every day. Very few players that start every day on this roster. They're working guys in. They're doing it as a team, and it's really started to click and it's starting to work. Everyone has bought in to the mentality that is working here at Citi Field.
Well, here's that replay on that play, Murph. I don't think he got him. They decided not to challenge. Oh, they did challenge. They did challenge. Did Ruff touch the bat? Oh, yeah, he did.
He did get him.
I didn't see Pete come in and signal challenge, but he did, and the umpires are taking a look at it. Darren Ruff was emphatic about it.
He was emphatic right away. But you're right, Murph, and I was down there talking with Kevin Long as well, and he said you don't really put a whole lot of stock, and we're going to get the ruling on the field. He's out. So that would go down as overturned, correct, Tom?
That would be overturned.
So Kevin Long said they were second in all of the National League in exit velocity off the bat. And he does get
right there.
David Wright, yeah. Quick and easy. But exit velocity, I don't really put a whole lot of stock in that. But when you're second in the league, that means you're hitting balls hard. And now they're just finding more holes out there. And like he also said, Conforto, this guy was just drafted last year. But I watched him take BP today. I was in awe of what he was doing.
Well, he had an excellent spring training. There are a lot of folks that thought he should have made the team out of spring training. But they did wait. And exit velocity is one of those new categories that people are really looking at. In fact, the St. Louis Cardinals build a lot of their team on the theory of exit velocity, as Freddie Galvis can't get that one on the backhand. That ball was smoked off the bat of Conforto.
Talk about exit velocity right there, Tom.
Big time.
And also, Ben, what Kevin was saying was that early in the season, the first couple of months of the season, he was looking at the numbers, and they were near the bottom of the National League in terms of balls put in play that resulted in hits. But he knew they were hitting the ball hard because of the exit velocity. Well, he said, you know what? Those kinds of things have a way of working themselves out, evening themselves out over the course of the season, and they're seeing those results now.
Michael Kadire will be the hitter. See Kadire's numbers the last 7 games. The Phillies were part of that at Citizens Bank Park. In fact, his numbers are staggeringly good. You're not going to find many guys that have better numbers against the Phillies this year. He's 19 for 38 against the Phillies.
It's almost 500, isn't it, Tom?
It is remarkably close to 500, Ben. No balls and 1 strike to Kadire. Inside, 1-1. Foul ball, 1 ball, 2 strikes. I don't know if Kevin Long talked about Kadire, but Terry Collins certainly did. Collins said it's huge that he's hitting the way he's hitting, and it would be even bigger if it continues and they do make the postseason, because he's a veteran and understands what the spotlight is all about.
Well, he's a veteran, plus he's a great guy and a good team leader. He's been around for a long time, but he is one of those professional hitters.
One ball, 2 strikes to Kadire. And it's back to the screen. It remains 1-2. Those are his career numbers. He's had a solid career. He's 3 home runs away from 200. Won a batting title when he was with the Colorado Rockies. Swing and a miss. He got it.
Good pitch. Set him up by the 2 pitches prior to that with fastballs. And goes with a slider here. Really believe Kadire was looking for something in. Then he gives up on that one and flails away for out number 2.
Well, that'll bring Travis d'Arnaud to the plate. d'Arnaud having a solid year, 268. The team that he was drafted by, he has done well against them this season, hitting .357 with 3 home runs. Drafted out of Lakewood High School in California. That is a big-time baseball program. And as it turns out, his senior year, it was a big-time athletic program overall. He was the athlete of the year his senior season. You know who the other athlete of the year was?
No.
That shared it with him? James Harden.
Huh.
The Houston Rockets. Maybe d'Arnaud can get part of that sneaker deal that Harden just received.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. I mean, they're high school together. Help a man out. 1 ball, 1 strike to d'Arnaud. And he lines it to right field, a base hit. Conforto goes to second. He'll stop there. Frenchie's throw on 1 hop to third. 2 outs, runners on first and second. Tomorrow morning, start your day with early bird training camp coverage with special guests Harry Mays and Brandon Lee Gouton on Breakfast on Broad. Weekday mornings from 6 until 8 over on the Comcast Network. There's Ruben Tejada, who did not play in last night's ball game. Playing shortstop tonight. Wilmer Flores gets the night off. Tejada hitting only .253, couple home runs, 22 runs batted in. Away, and now he's ahead 0-2.
A lot of things he can do here. A lot of things he can do. I do like the fact that he's been using, although the first 2 pitches of this at bat were breaking balls and sliders, but he's really trying to establish that fastball. In, out, up, down. The fastball to d'Arnaud was not well located, and he made him pay, but I do like location so far.
Ruiz will set up toward the outside part of the plate as Harang spins back. Good sized lead by both runners off first and second. Outside again, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Aaron there just tried to overthrow that pitch. Wasn't a very fluid release point.
Now you have to be careful. You know you have the pitcher in the on-deck circle, even though you don't want to. I mean, you don't want to nibble against the number 8 hitter. These last 3 pitches, though, have basically been in the same neighborhood, down and away.
And if you're Tejada, you have to be looking out there again. There hasn't been one pitch inside. I think if you do get one in, you could lock them up easily, but
they're going to creep outside again. Runners will be off. There they go. Pitch is fouled back. Today's ball game is also available in Spanish. Just use the SAP button on your television to change the language for the menu on your cable box.
See,
that reminds me, I was supposed to send Bill Kulick an email today, and I forgot.
That was the reminder?
Yeah, I saw him today at the ballpark. I was supposed to send him some notes.
Way to go, Tom.
Can you guys remind me to send Bill Kulick some notes?
Send Bill Kulick some notes.
Fly ball to right field. Jeff Francoeur comes in and over. And he makes the catch. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 men left. On to the third. Phillies nothing, Mets. Go to the fan section for all the information. Please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Ben, here we go. The question is, what is Mets pitcher Noah Syndergaard's nickname? Answer will be revealed by Mr. Brawny Man a little later on.
It's a rather easy question there.
It is. People helping people. John DeSangro, our associate producer, wanted to make it a little easy. He has that nickname on his glove, but he has other nicknames on his gloves also, on different gloves, depending on how he's feeling that night. Freddie Galvis will lead it off. It'll be Galvis, Harang, and then the top of the order against Jonathan Neese. And Galvis lines it toward the alley in right center field. That's going to be in for an extra base hit, going toward the wall. And Galvis will put the brakes on as he arrives at second base. 13th double of the year for Freddie.
Way to get it started. First pitch, heater, Hunting. Said, all right, you're going to go out there. I'll go out there with you. Ball really jumped off his bat.
Harang bunts it foul, and it's 0-1. Aaron, 179 hitter. trying to get Galvis over to third. Less than 2 outs. Phillies had a couple base runners in the first inning. And he bunts it toward third. It's a nice bunt.
Nice.
David Wright has to field it. Murphy's on the receiving end. 5-4 on the putout. Speaking of today's ball game is in Spanish. There's Bill and Angel.
See how upset Bill was that you didn't send him that message?
Well, I did give him a path to get the information if he needed it, but I wasn't sure if he would be able to figure that part of it out. I mean, I knew he'd figure it out, but he didn't write it down, so I said I would try to send it. But I brought the iPad instead of the computer, and I couldn't download some information. That's a ground ball past the diving David Wright, and Freddie Galvis scores, and it's 1-0. Phillies on top. Darnell Sweeney with the RBI single.
Gets just enough of it to get it past David Wright there at third base. I think that's a ball that David Wright in the past very accustomed to getting to. See that just out of range.
I love the aggressive approach though with an RBI situation, staring Sweeney in the face, is to go after it right away, even though it was a breaking ball.
But it was a hanger.
Cesar singled his first time up, then was caught in a double play off second base on a soft line drive. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Nice job by Haran getting that bunt down, because David Wright was in a little bit. If he would have been in his normal position because of not getting that bunt down, that's a 5-3 all day. David Wright would have been back a little bit farther, and the Phillies would not be winning 1-0.
Up and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I asked Wright today how he was feeling with his bad back, and he said he's been good. You know, I asked him about those particular plays where he's diving all over the place, and he said he's been able to manage it without any problems. 3 balls, 2 strikes. He said what happened is that, you know, he was born with a smaller canal in his lower back. A lot of us have that, but when he fractured his vertebrae a few years ago, the bone grew back bigger, stronger. That's what happens, and it cut down the space in that canal even more. As that ball's off the glove of d'Arnaud, and Hernandez will go to first. He said so that's why all of a sudden he's having issues with his back. But he said that he's at the point now where he thinks he can manage those issues. Said he had a conversation with Don Mattingly about it in California, because Mattingly had back problems.
Yes.
At the end of his career. And he said mentally that was one of the best things I did, because he convinced me that I could have productive years even with this issue, because he had productive years.
And he just had to cut back on certain things. Swings in the cage, etc.
Aaron Altair takes inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Altair's hit into a fielder's choice tonight, so he's 0 for 1. Chops that one towards shortstop. Tejada's got it. They go to second for 1. That's all they'll get. 2 outs, runners on first and third. So 2 fielders' choice tonight for Altair. Well, prior to the start of today's ball game, Philadelphia native Gino Auriemma, who was born in Italy but grew up in Norristown, was on the hill throwing out the first pitch. I didn't see any red underneath that golf shirt. For a strike, though. Travis d'Arnaud.
Man's won some titles.
He has won some titles. Jeff Francoeur lines one into left center field, a base hit. Sweeney will score. Altair's on his way to third. The throw by Lagares is not in time. An RBI single for Jeff Francoeur. It's 2-0. Phillies on top. That was a rocket.
Another loud hit for the Phillies. I like it all the way around. You can see the approach against that the Phillies are having tonight against Jonathan Neese. Go up there and swing the bats. Of course, this is another breaking ball. And Frank Cord laces it in the left center field. Aaron Altair very aggressive and going to third base.
So 2 are in on 4 hits for the Phils in the first 3 innings, and Ruff is up. Takes a strike, 0-1.
Did ask Frenchie today. I said, "Hey, were you able to put that bat back together from that at bat against Familia last night?" And he said, he started laughing. He said, "No, way too many pieces."
That was the double play that he hit into in the 9th inning. Which you referenced the pitch that Familia, you said, is that a split at 93? And it is indeed a split finger. That's popped foul toward the area in front of us. It's 0-2 to Ruff. He's been working on it for 2 years, apparently, under the direction of Ricky Bonas and Dan Worthen. He's decided that he's finally comfortable with throwing it in a game.
Jeff does have a couple hits off of Familia, but he said, how does he do it? Oh, my Lord.
There's a high fly ball deep down the left field line. If it's fair, it's gone. It's a fair ball. It is gone. A 3-run home run for Darren Ruff, and the Phils take a 5-0 lead. Second straight time when Aaron Harang's been on the hill that they have given him a 5-zip lead as Ruff picks up his 7th home run of the season.
He said, "You know what? You keep throwing me these breaking balls, I'm going to take you up top." He got him in Philly. He gets him again tonight. Another breaking ball. Neese is continuing to throw this breaking ball, and the Phillies are ready for it. What a short swing.
Makes a winner out of Shirley Kaylock of Levittown in the McDonald's home run jackpot. She's just won $200.
Way to go, Shirley.
No balls, 1 strike to Blanco. Five home runs for Ruff against left-handers. Out towards center field. Lagares is under it, and the inning is over. But, or I should say, Cespedes. It was a productive inning for the Phillies. They scored 5 runs, capped off by Darren Ruff's 3-run home run. Middle of the 3rd, Phillies 5, Mets nothing. Offers on our most exciting lineup ever. ShopNissan.com. By Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. And by the Quality Plus Sports Stores. Go further. Bottom half of the 3rd, Jonathan Neese will lead it off. Phillies up 5-0. All right, so the last series against the Mets, they had a 5-0 lead and a 7-2 lead. They lost both of those. So the next step is to try to maintain this 5-run lead here tonight and build on it.
Build on it, yes, but Aaron Harang, you see, with a different game plan in terms of execution than what he had last time.
Aaron certainly has it in him. His first 11 starts, he may have been 4-5 for the Phils, but he had an earned run average of 2.02. And Nice went around. It's 1-2. Last 12 starts, though, his earned run average is 7.71. He rings up Jonathan Nice. Third strikeout. And there's one away. Well, he played a role in the Phils' 5-run third inning. It's our GMC precision play of the game.
He bunts it hard, but it's the proper location of the bunt. Third base. The Mets don't have that wheel play on there. Of course, Tejada's not able to get to third base. It doesn't matter how hard he bunts it. That is your GMC precision play of the game.
One way now for Curtis Granderson. He flied out to center field his only time up. A little high with that first pitch. Down the left field line, slicing toward the corner. It is a foul ball. Pretty close to getting out of here.
It was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
It went a lot farther than I thought it was going to be.
Kevin Long also discussing how Curtis Granderson really is their catalyst. We'll take a look at this ball on the left field line.
It hit the side. It was an optical illusion.
It was very deceiving. And he says, you know, as Granny goes, we go. We witnessed that last night with his 2-run homer. He's had 87 full counts this year. 87. It's pretty good if you're a leadoff man.
Out toward right center field, and Frank Kors says he has it. He steps from the track, puts it away. And there are 2 outs. Cespedes is coming up. Well, if you want to be a ball girl in 2016, the Phillies are looking to hire a staff of them. They can represent the organization and the community as well as perform duties on the field. The requirements are as follows. Softball experience. You must be fun and outgoing. You must be 18 years or older. Please send resume and 2-minute video demonstrating your softball skills and why you'd make a great Phillies ball girl. Go to Phillies Ball Girls or send your applications to ballgirls@phillies.com or ballgirl applicant, 1 Citizens Bank Way, Philadelphia, PA 19148. Fastball in there to Cespedes. It's 0-1. He struck out his first time up. Oh, 2. Check swing. They appeal. Jim Wolf says no to the appeal. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Cespedes.
Well, he climbed the ladder the first at bat. Definitely has that option of doing it. Cespedes is one of those guys. Loves the ball low, which we saw off Harang last time, but he will chase that high one.
Well, they went upstairs again.
Right on cue.
Has a foul tip. 4 strikeouts for Aaron Harang. He retires the Mets in order. On to the 4th. The Phillies lead it 5-0 over New York. Section of laminators and shredders. Whether you're preserving your best work or safely destroying your most confidential documents, Swingline and WB Mason deliver a cut above the rest. Who but WB Mason? We go to the top of the fourth inning. The Phillies on top 5-0. And Carlos Ruiz will lead things off. Carlos grounded back to the pitcher his only time up, and he rips this one down the left field line. That'll be in for a base hit going to the corner. And Carlos on his way to second. Cespedes, or I should say Conforto. Well, I'm thinking Lagares and Cespedes are in different spots.
I talked about the use of pitches. Now he's really not relying on that fastball a whole lot. A lot of first pitch breaking balls, even doubling up with that breaking ball. You see there 8. I'll go along with 3 changeups and 3 cutters. Jonathan Nice has had a lot of success in the past against the Phillies, and that was why it was one of my keys, locating that fastball in, and that really opened up the outside part of the plate for him with that changeup and the backdoor cutter. But he's not doing that. A lot of first pitch breaking balls. Just did it again to Chooch. Chooch's bat died a hero, but he'll take the double.
Freddie Galvis takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes to Galvis. He doubled his first time up. Phillies have 6 hits already. That one's pulled toward the hole. Backhand and a 1-hop by Tejada. Ruiz goes back. Pretty good arm by Ruben Tejada. With 1 out, Aaron Harang's coming up. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, thanks, Tom. Well, it's September 1st, so what does that mean in Major League Baseball? Of course, that means September call-ups as the rosters can expand. And, you know, for every team, that's a different scenario. For the Phils team, who are very, active in looking at some young players right now, they decided to bring up 3 different players, 2 pitchers, and Dalier Hinojosa, the right-hander who we've seen earlier this season, and Colton Murray, also a right-hander. Those guys will be part of the bullpen, and Eric Kratz, as we talked about earlier. So, what is the importance of that? Well, Eric will give them a little bit of flexibility. Of course, they can pinch run and, pinch hit for a catcher or pinch run for a catcher and not have to worry about not having another guy late in the game. And, of course, this bullpen that's gotten a lot of work, 2 more arms out there, never a bad thing. So that's the way the Phils are looking at their September calls. And there may be more, but right now the Phils are just going with these 3 guys.
Yeah, talking to Joe Jordan earlier today, as that pitch is on the outside corner, it's 0-2. Joe said that they're going to leave the Reading team intact because they're in the postseason. And Joe said, it's really important for Williamsport, which clinched the spot, and Reading and the other teams that are in the postseason to experience the opportunity to win. As they build, they want the farm system to learn how to win. So by giving them that chance, there may be guys from Reading that come up, as Murph alluded to, or even some more guys from Lehigh Valley. They want to make sure that those guys get a chance to sense what victory is like and possibly win a championship.
You're absolutely right. No telling if you ever get back to a postseason as a player, whether that be in the minor leagues or the big leagues.
Yeah, and Tom, one of the things they also were talking about, Scott Profrak was talking about it yesterday, is not only winning, but winning together. A lot of those guys on that Reading team, they have some high hopes for. They think they'll be in the big leagues together in a couple of years, and they want them to experience that camaraderie that comes with winning and winning a championship. So, they'll share that, hopefully, down there in Reading this year, and maybe bring that experience up here to the big leagues.
Well, a couple of those Double-A guys will be heading to the Arizona Fall League together as well to keep that experience going. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Harang. The runner at second base, 1 man down here at the top of the 4th.
Exactly the opportunity that I had Double-A in 1998. We went to the playoffs, Mobile Bay Bears, Double-A for the Padres at the time, and we actually won the league. My only ring I got in all 16 years of professional baseball, and it was a special time. And I still wear that ring. Yes, it's only a Double-A ring, but I love it. It reminds me of that summer I had with those fellas.
3-2 pitch is in there for strike 3. Harang goes down looking for a strikeout for Jonathan Nice. Well, Brock Stasi, who was the Eastern League MVP, he had a solid, consistent year. 307 with 14 home runs, 88 RBIs. Now remember, 88 RBIs in 127 games so far. I mean, that's a heck of a year. That's on pace for a 100 RBI season. And Dusty Wathan, we talked about this last night, was the Eastern League Manager of the Year. Congratulations to Dusty. and the Reading Titans. Here's Darnell Sweeney, who takes low and in. 1 ball, no strikes. Two balls and no strikes.
I think if you were to get a ball to the outfield here, Conforto throws okay. Cespedes in center, very, very good arm. Granderson, despite being a right fielder, not as good as he used to be. So having the luxury of a 5-0 lead, you might see Rock send Chooch here, despite Chooch not being the fleetest of foot. That's what's nice about having a lead. You can take different chances.
Sweeney takes low, 3-1.
Still have the vendor that barks like a dog.
I thought I saw him earlier, but he was not barking. I don't know if they told him he's not allowed to bark when he sells the hot dogs anymore. Out toward right field, Granderson ventures back. He's got a beat on it, makes the catch. Side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left in scoring position. That was Ruiz. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. The Phillies have taken a 5-0 lead over Jonathan Neese and the Mets. Is all we do. Call 1-800-JEFF now or visit jefferson.edu. Buy your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer or visit delvalhondadealers.com. And buy Budweiser. Still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Bottom of the 4th inning. Daniel Murphy will lead things off. How about what Bartolo Colon did last night against the Phils? What did Jeff Francoeur say? He said he could have hit a gnat with his fastball last night.
A gnat's rear end.
Oh, that's right. He did throw it. Yeah. Very descriptive. Murphy takes a strike, 0-1. Well, 8 innings last night. He's 4-0 against the Phillies this year. 11-1 against the National League East. 11-1. Against the National League East. 1 ball, 1 strike. It still may not save his spot in the rotation for the postseason, because there's not going to be anybody in the National League East in the postseason. The ball is pulled foul off the netting in front of Ray Ramirez, the Mets athletic trainer. 1-2.
Well, he's a guy that, if he does go to the bullpen, it's not going to, his ego isn't at the point where he'll be like, you know what I've done in my career and this and that. He's just happy to be pitching.
Well, they've done some call-ups. The Mets have, and one of those call-ups was Steven Matz, who last night went 5 1/3 in a Double-A rehab, allowed 1 hit, And his ERA is 1.20 in his rehab assignments. And they think that he could be the guy. There he is right there. He could be the guy that they put into the rotation that could bump one or two of the current guys in the rotation.
He has a lot of promise.
Chopper left side. Andres Blanco's up with it. Well, here is Bartolo Colon last night. See if you can see the gnat that he's about to hit.
He kept chasing guys away. Come out, throw that front door. Frank Court, one of the only sliders that he threw the entire evening. But the movement was just spectacular. It was, well, it was a clinic on how to pitch. In, out, up, down. Away, 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 in, up, down. Just phenomenal.
David Wright. It's a foul back to the screen. 0-1. Wright grounded out to second. It was only time up.
David Wright now gets to the field every day about 1 o'clock. Goes through a very rigorous stretching routine. I witnessed that yesterday. Goes through pregame batting practice, ground balls, and then goes through that again before game time. So has to make sure he's loose enough to be out on the diamond.
Now his ground ball activity is shorter than it used to be.
Yes.
I think he said it's a dozen ground balls. It may have been less than that. We tie him up and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
They catch a few third, just toss them back in to where they're being hit from around the home plate area, and made a few throws to first. Ended it with a few throws to second. Tim tough. He's got to be better than that. Not a very good effort there.
No, he let a few go through the 5-hole during his playing career. On one hop, Cesar Hernandez has it, sets himself, and this time puts a little bit extra on it. And he throws out David Wright. That's a good play. And there are 2 outs. Well, here's Michael Conforto, and our Geico quote of the day comes from David Wright speaking about the young outfielder. He said, if you were going to build a ball player with the right approach along with the right amount of talent, he'd be the guy. Well, that's high praise.
Pretty darn nice compliment coming from David Wright.
Hitting 301 with 4 homers and 14 runs batted in. He singled his first time up. Wearing some pretty colorful spikes. In fact, if they were made the style of golf shoes, Murph would wear them. He's got a shirt and a hat that would match those perfectly. Don't you?
I do indeed. I like those.
See you coming a mile away. Balls, 2 strikes. Rang's doing a little bit of that tonight, where he's pitching inside, he's pitching up and in, not toward the head, but he's at least getting them off the plate somewhat.
What he did to Daniel Murphy to lead off this inning was textbook.
He also did it to Wright.
Yes.
They try to come back in, and they do so. They run it back, but it's a little high. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I believe that pitch caught plate, and Jim Wolf just thought it was up a bit. And triple up inside.
Got it on the hands. Darnell Sweeney is under it. And a 1-2-3 inning for Aaron Harang. He's retired 7 straight. Will retire to the top of the 5th inning. Phillies lead it 5-0. Cesar will lead it off when we come back. Trivia quiz answer. All right, here we go, Ben. What is Mets pitcher Noah Syndergaard's nickname?
Thor.
Thor is correct as Hernandez bunts that one. It's what a stop by Jonathan Neese, a diving stop, and he throws from his knees. What a way here in the 5th. That's a fantastic play. It gets past him. That's a base hit.
It just needed to be a bit harder. Regardless, it's a very good play by Jonathan Neese. But if you see there, if he gets it out in that Bermuda Triangle area, no one's going to get him.
Altair is 0 for 2. There's a strike. It's 0-1. Watch it again. Oh, he just got that too.
He did. He actually had a little bit more time than what he thought. Gets up and slings it almost underhand.
Outside, 2 balls, 1 strike.
He's getting under a lot of pitches today. Witness there on that changeup. Seems to be pushing a lot of pitches. Oof.
3-2 pitch. And it's fouled back again.
Just having trouble getting extension through the ball. He has 3 pitches. They're supposed to be in on Aaron Altair. And all left out over the plate.
Well, there's ball 4. So he works out a walk. Yeah, he's a little different than he was last week. Well, it's time for a timeless moment. Let's bring in Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, Tom, thanks. Brought to you by Coors Banquet, and we'll bring you back to the date, this date, way back in the year of 2014, when Cole Hamels, Jake Diekman, Ken Giles, Jonathan Papelbon combined for the first combined no-hitter in franchise history. It was a 7-0 win over the Braves down there in Atlanta. Carlos Ruiz behind the plate for yet another no-hitter in his career. But, yeah, 1 year ago today was that combined no-hitter. A day game in Atlanta, if I remember right.
It was hot.
Yeah.
I mean, Cole was wilting in those 5 innings.
That's right. Hence the combined.
Yeah. Thank you, Murph. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Just clarifying.
Dyer will give it a look. And it's out of play off the top of the dugout. Well, Hamels was not the only one wilting. Jake Diekman, Ken Giles, Jonathan Papelbon. They were doing the same. That was a good day in a last couple months that were not that great for the Phils. That was a nice moment. Ground ball. Ooh, line drive, I should say. I thought that took a hop, but it didn't. Right off the facing of the dugout.
Incoming.
Never cracks. No big deal.
Another fastball supposed to be in. And these balls are splitting the plate. Frenchie had one earlier in the bat. The 2-1 count. He fouled over the Mets dugout. Ball should have gone 900 feet. Sometimes pitchers just cannot get that full extension. Down and through, they almost cut themselves off. The ball ends up staying in the middle.
Runner goes, pitch is swung on and missed, no throw to second. It'll be a stolen base for Altair. And a strikeout of Francourt. It's time now for our Lowe's Never Stop Improving Player Profile. We're going to lean on Darren Ruff before the All-Star break, 229. After the break, 263. Playing mostly against left-handers. Included in that home run total was what he did in his last AB.
He gets this breaking ball and just shellacks it out to left field. Bring a smile to his face.
Home run was a 7th. 23 runs batted in. And he lines this one down the left field line. That's going to be in for a base hit. It skips off the edge of the grass to the corner. It'll be an RBI for Darren Ruff, and he'll pull into second base. And he slid past the bag. He is out. He slid late and he was out, but the run does count. And the Phils make it a 6-0 ball game. That was a high lofting throw by Conforto. Larry Bowa's thinking, how do we keep sliding past all these bases?
It's an epidemic.
It's happened a lot this year. Conforto gets an outfield assist, but Ruff gets an RBI. Citizens Bank. The Phillies Junior RBI League has been teaching kids how to play the game since 1989. Donate a baseball glove or two to the next generation of baseball greats at the Citizens Bank kiosk at Citizens Bank Park. At Citizens Bank, we want to help you bank better. So the next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. 6-0 Phillies on top. Darren Ruff gets another RBI. He has 4, but he had an awfully late slide. Conforto picks this up barehanded and just lofts the throw to second base.
It makes it there all the way in the air, and it's like he got caught off guard, did Darren Ruff, and went to that slide entirely too late.
I think he thought he was just going to stand up.
That's what I think. And he looks up and says, uh-oh.
Yeah, he's nowhere near the bag at that moment. And Murphy keeps the tag on him. Dyer leads it off, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike to him. Two and 1. That one's lined out to left field. Here comes Altair. He'll dive and make the catch. And 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th.
The first step is so key. If he breaks back on this ball for just a smidgen, he's not going to be able to get to it. First step, very key. Aaron Altair gets a good jump, comes flying in and lays out for the ball.
Orang obviously likes that. Here's d'Arnaud. Takes it side, 1 ball and no strikes.
He is moving some feet tonight. I like it.
Great. I mean, you guys have been calling for it. You and Matt. LA, I know, is calling for it over on radio. So we got a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Curveball whacked foul, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. I thought one of the interesting notes that Bloomberg, which is one of our stats providers, showed us today was the numbers this year compared to last year for Orang, whether it be strikeouts, which are down per game, averaged over 7 per game last year, averaging less than 6, about 5.5 per game this year, and also his numbers against off-speed pitches. Last year, off-speed pitch 284. That's not great, but still 284. This year, when he throws an off-speed pitch, they're hitting it at a clip of 341.
Which means they're up.
They're up, and he's probably not doing what he's doing tonight, which is moving people around a little bit, inside, outside. Down the right field line, and Ruff will give it a look.
I personally always found that if I had a pitcher out there that would move my feet, it made me more aggressive on pitches thereafter, because I felt, all right, buddy, you know what, you're gonna move my feet, I'm gonna get you. And it made me over anxious at times, because I wanted to put in his mind that, no, I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm not gonna let you bully me.
There's ball 4, and d'Arnaud will go to first. It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag #PhillyPhoto_DataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Fouled over the screen. It's 0-1. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Johnson's on deck for Jonathan Neese, so it's going to be a short night for the Mets left-hander. Bobby Parnell just added back to the roster. He was on the DL for a good portion of this year, a couple of different times. Chopper back toward the middle. This might be 2. Hernandez, nope, he won't get anybody. I really thought Galvis was going to flag it down right at the second base bag and just make the throw to first. But it must have taken a quicker hop. Yeah, it did. Taking a quicker hop past him.
Freddie's saying it's his fault. Either way, it's 6-0 in the 5th inning. You have to get an out here. I think maybe these two are thinking, hey, we can get a pair out of this.
Yeah, Cesar was trying to flip it with his glove.
Either way, I don't care if you get Tejada at first base. An out has to be made there in 6-0 ball game.
That one's lined over the head. Hernandez into right center field. Rounding third, heading for home is Darnell. He's going to wind up scoring. RBI pinch hit single for Kelly Johnson. 6-1 ball game.
Well, the walk scores, which I don't like in a 6-0 ball game. Again, when plays aren't made, like the ball and Tejada up the middle, you just need to get an out. Basically kill rallies.
Well, what you want to do is kill this rally right here. You don't want to give the Mets any indication that they're going to creep back into this ballgame, and you certainly don't want to open that up if you're the Phils. Granderson is 0 for 2. He's flied out twice. He just missed the last one when he flied out to right field. Phillies set up to try to turn 2. Outside. That was chopped foul 1 and 2. Granderson whacks that one off his foot. Popped him up. Ruiz off of the mask. Not a whole lot of room behind home plate. It goes back into the seats. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Budweiser still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Pete Buchanan's not fooling around. He's got bullpen action now. He's got a little extra depth in the bullpen with Jerome Williams and also Colton Murray, who was added today. But he's got Hector Neris warming up. That one's tapped in front of the plate. Ruiz says he has it. A run will score, but they get the out. RBI for Granderson. 2-3 on the putout.
Smart play by Chooch, and we've seen him do this time and time again. Very quick, cat-like, coming out from behind home plate. And I'm sure the thought probably crossed his mind whether he could grab this and come back and get Tejada at home plate, but he makes the right decision. Throws this ball to first base.
Well, as you said, just get the outs, boys.
That's it.
And a breaking ball. Now he's been able to get ahead of Cespedes, which is huge. Cespedes, who was 0 for 6 in this series and 0 for 14 on this homestand. He's been able to get ahead of him, and then he's been able to finish him off with a high fastball. And that is the scouting report on Cespedes, that you can get him with the high fastball.
He's gotten him twice today with it.
Runner leads off second base. That's Kelly Johnson. 0-2.
On it.
Down and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. First strikeout, high fastball. Here's the third inning, second strikeout. Kind of missed a spot, but still got it up there.
He did, but they're just up high enough where it looks enticing. Now, if you throw it up way high, it's not going to look good to you.
You don't want to keep it down there. And if you do, you want it to be off the plate a little bit more. That is the 25th pitch of this inning for Aaron Harang.
This pitch just out far enough where Uenis cannot barrel that ball.
I think he may have hurt himself on that last swing. He's sort of hitting his back as he's wandering around the circle. His back's okay. 6-4 ball game.
This one not quite as high as the first two that struck him out in his first 2 at bats. And if you're not throwing in the high 90s, that pitch is not going to be very effective. Location of this, Chooch wants it way up there. Really ends up being about belt high. Oof. Yep, that's belt high.
And Pete Buchanan is wasting no time. I mean, some people might think that he could have gotten him earlier, but Aaron Harang is not pleased that he's lifted from this game. The ball up the middle by Tejada that wasn't grabbed by Galvis and wasn't stopped in time by Hernandez, a big part of this game. The Mets have scored 4 runs in this inning. Hector Neris will take over for Aaron Harang. 2-2, 4.55 ERA. Now, it didn't go well for Neris against the Mets last week. I mean, his earned run average is where it is because of that series. Daniel Murphy will be the batter with 2 outs.
And they saw a lot of them.
They did. Popped it up. Shallow center field, left center field. Galvis under it, makes the catch. Side is retired. 4 runs scored in the inning for the Mets. The big blow, the 2-run home run by Cespedes. Neris makes sure the Phillies still have the lead. We'll go to the 6th inning. 6-4 Phillies. On and off the field. Andres is a big asset for Pete Buchanan, and when it comes to young players adapting to the majors, he is always there to lend a hand. Not to mention the production he has delivered all season long. Blanco has been swinging to an average of 300 most of the season. He's done so while playing all 4 positions on the infield when needed. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Bobby Parnell will take over as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Parnell takes over for Jonathan Neese, who's pulled after 5 innings. He at least went 5. Aaron Harang was 1 out away from being in line to possibly win this ball game. But Pete Buchanan was not wasting any. He didn't want to see any more balls leave the yard. So Parnell 1-3 with a 5.59 ERA. 10 strikeouts in 19 1/3.
Not after what happened last time Aaron Harang faced the Mets.
Aaron took the baseball and it was like a low 5. Slammed it down into Pete's hand. I mean, he could have been frustrated with himself, but I'm sure he wanted to finish at least the 5th inning. Blanco is 0 for 2. He's flied out twice. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
Right back after him.
A little out front of that one. 1 ball, 1 strike to Blanco. Blanco 8 for 25 against the Mets this year. His overall average is at 302 for the season. Mets have a 6.5 game lead in the division. The Nationals thought, well, Mets won last night, but if they could have beaten the Cardinals, they would have remained 5.5 back. They had the lead on the Cardinals, but then the Cardinals put a 5 spot on the board in the 7th inning. 3 balls, 1 strike.
The tough part about letting the Mets back in the game with a big inning like that is the fact that they have 4 more bats
Against the Phillies bullpen that hasn't been able to handle things against the Mets this year, particularly in the last series. Ball 4, Parnell issues a walk. That'll bring some boos out.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Tom, and say that that's not going to make Terry Collins very happy.
No, I would think not. Keep up with the pennant races in true HD quality on MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Visit MLB.TV today. Genmar Gomez in the bullpen. Pitcher spot is due up after Galvis. Mets have Eric O'Flaherty warming up, a left-hander, in case we get to the pitcher's spot. And Pete Buchanan decides to use Ryan Howard, Cody Ashe, or Dominic Brown. There's O'Flaherty. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Inside, 2 balls, 1 strike to Ruiz.
The natives are getting restless.
They are. That was a close pitch, but he hasn't been around the strike zone. 3-1. Inside, ball 4. So back-to-back walks. These fans, they love him. Comes Dan Warthen. I'm sure the fans hoped it was Terry Collins who was coming out. Freddie Galvis will be the batter. Who do you think has the inside track as securing one of the final roster spots that are up for grabs? Find out what Ron Burke, Ruben Frank, and special guest John Ritchie from NBC SN think on Quick Slants, presented by Nissan. Tomorrow night at 6, only on Comcast Sports. Marcus Smith, the #1 pick last year. Not that anybody needs to be reminded of this. He barely played last year. Started out with a groin injury. Now a hamstring problem. I wonder what they're going to do with him. You wonder what they'll do with Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
So after the meeting on the mound, here's Freddie Galvis. Galvis is 1 for 2. Doubled and scored. Galvis does here. The corners are pinching in.
I'm sitting dead red if the bunt's not on.
I wondered if they would allow him to swing away because of that, because Parnell has struggled so much with his command that you would think he's going to try to groove a fastball. But Pete wants to get 2 guys in scoring position with less than 2 outs if he can.
Yeah. Not a bad play.
No. One and 0. That one's bunted to the left of the plate. Parnell has it, and he throws it past Murphy down the right field line. 1 run is in. Ruiz goes to third. 7-4. Phillies on top.
You could see Parnell wanted no part of throwing that ball to first base. Great bunt by Freddie. Really deadened it off the end of the bat there. Trickled out in front of home plate. You see that very soft hands by Freddie. But you could see he just did not want to throw that. He just changed his complete throwing motion.
Well, that'll be it for Parnell. It's a hollow feeling for any ball player. Although it's not as loud as I thought it would be. In the top of the 6th inning. They had a 6-0 lead at one point in this ball game. Well, the Cubs come to town to wrap up the 4-game series on Sunday, September 13th. All fans 14 and under will receive the Phillie Fanatics one-man band DVD. Compliments of the New Jersey Education Association. Tickets can be purchased for all 4 games against the Cubs by going to Phillies.com. Eric O'Flaherty.
Cody Ashley was not announced, correct?
Cody Ashley, I believe, was announced.
He was announced.
Cameron Rupp will come on to pinch hit. The luxury of having 3 catchers now on the roster. Rupp or Eric Kratz could be a pinch hitter. And Rupp fouls it, and it's 0-1. Numbers against left-handers. Tap foul 0-2.
We got Collins, Gil Martin, O'Flaherty, Murphy.
You feeling good about the names that are being thrown out there?
Yeah.
Is that why you wanted to wear a green shirt tonight? Although I think the green looks sharp.
It does look sharp.
Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. We decided to go with a little luck of the Irish tonight. Wires all over the place by wearing the St. Patrick's Day shirts for spring training.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Pete Buchanan, not knowing that we were wearing these golf shirts, he did the lineup card tonight in green. When I walked in and I said, "Pete, thanks for doing the lineup card in green," he goes, "Oh, you're wearing green." He goes, "Did you know I did the lineup card in green?" I said, "No." "Did you know we were wearing green golf shirts?" He said, "I didn't." He goes, "We're on the same page."
We should put him on the text chain to what shirts we're wearing.
It's just too confusing already for us. One ball or 2 balls and 2 strikes.
For the folks at home, Tom is the definitive decision maker when it comes to what shirts we will wear.
That's right. In the dirt, Darno blocks it. So I have the best style out of anybody. I can't even say that with a straight face.
Murph, care to interject?
I'm not saying a word. Tom does a great job organizing the shirt.
Thank you, Murph.
Well done.
You are a great motivator. You are a great motivator. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Rupp. In the dirt, ball 4. 3 walks in the inning. There he comes, Terry Collins.
Very good at bat by Cameron Rupp. Even down 0-2. And a fight back to a walk.
Well, Terry Collins has already signaled for the right-hander, so they're going to have Darnell Sweeney bat left-handed with the bases loaded and still nobody outs. Phillies lead at 7-4. They have a chance to bust it open again when we come back to Citi Field. Loaded and nobody out here in the top of the 6th inning. Phillies Fantasy Camp is the sports experience where anything becomes possible. January 20th to the 24th, 2016. Join a lineup of Phillies legends, including Mike Schmidt, John Kruk, Greg Luzinski, Matt Stairs, and Milt Thompson, and so many more. Take part in a 1-hour hitting clinic with Mike Schmidt. Create memories that last a lifetime. Book now at PhilliesFantasyCamp.com. Carlos Torres will be the new pitcher, 3rd pitcher used in this inning by the Mets.
How do you think the Mets offense feels right now? We just got you 4 runs. Your job is to go out and get 3 outs the quickest way you possibly can and get our butts back in the dugout so we can see if we can do some more damage. Keep that momentum flowing.
I don't think they're feeling too good about it. There's a breaking ball and it's 0-1 and Darnell Sweeney. I guess they didn't forget about the 3 walks.
What about the throwing error?
They forgot about that.
Oh, okay.
1 pitch outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Good rip. 1-2. He fouls it. Sweeney does have an RBI tonight. Talking to Darnell today about being in the big leagues and playing in these big league ballparks. Asked him what the biggest adjustment's been, and he went right to defense. Said in the outfield, that third deck does matter. So there's so many baseballs that get lost in shirts, people, and everything else. He said it takes some adjusting.
Oh. And he said the best way to get work in was to take balls off the bat in batting practice. Best way to get jumps, reads.
Asked him if this ballpark's easier than Florida because that was such a big ballpark that he roams. That was line toward right center field. That could going to clear the bases, you would think. Rupp on his way to third. He's trying hard, and now they're going to hold him. It'll be a 2-run double for Darnell Sweeney, and it's now 9-4. I have to admit, I forgot Rupp was at first base. 3 RBIs tonight for Darnell Sweeney. It was a good swing.
It was a very good swing. He put a good swing on the ball from the right side and drove a ball out to Curtis Granderson earlier in the game, but this from the left side really stays on plane, keeps that bat in the zone.
Well, that's his first major league double. So runners on second and third, 9-4. Phillies on top. Cesar Hernandez takes high, 1-0. One more run, and they've gotten all 4 back. To the right side, Rupp holds at third. With the infield in. No satisfaction in being in first place. There's no equity in winning. So 1 away. And here's Altair. Altair is grounded to shortstop twice, and he walked his last time up. He has scored 2 runs. That one is looped out toward right field. Granderson's coming in. Rupp was late to get back in tag, and now he stumbles. 2 away.
I don't think Rock would have sent Cameron there because of Cameron's speed and the location where this ball ends up. Regardless, you have to get back to the bag. It's like he's upset with himself, but maybe Rock would have sent him because they do have a 5-run lead.
Fred Core has an RBI signal tonight, 1 for 3. Going up there, Hackett at the first pitch. It's 0-1. Swing by Fred Core, no appeal, and it's 3-1. Well, they have first base open, although they've got a hot hitter at least for tonight in the on-deck circle. Aaron Ruff has 4 RBIs. Let's see what they do with Frank Core. 3 balls, 1 strike. Looks like they're going away. So at a Major League scoreboard, Washington has jumped out to a 4-0 lead over the Cardinals. Anthony Rendon, a double and 2 RBIs. Carter's lead off second and third. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Francoeur. Outside ball 4. So that is the 4th walk of the inning. And now the 9th man to bat in the inning is Darren Ruff, who, as we mentioned, has 4 RBIs this evening. Let's see if Darren can keep this thing rolling. Drive, base hit into center field. 1 run is in. Here comes Sweeney heading home. The throw to the plate by Cespedes hits the mound. So 2 more runs score. It's a 6 RBI night for Darren Ruff. It's 11-4 Phillies.
Stay hot. The home run obviously was crushed. The double down the line, smoked. This ball may have been the hardest hit ball that Darren Ruff has hit all night. 6 RBIs. I mean, that ball is laser. Smart to take second base on that throw by Cespedes. Does the Phillies a favor by hitting the mound.
So after the Mets scored 4 in the bottom of the 5th inning, the Phillies have scored 5 here in the top of the 6th. They lead it by 7. And Blanco lines one to right center field. That's going to split the gap and go to the wall. The Phillies have finally tagged the Mets bullpen. 2 more score. Andres Blanco with a 2-run double. He started the inning with a walk, and now he's got a 2-run double to give the Phils a 13-4 lead.
A lot of fans in front of us already exiting. Look at these folks walking up the steps. There are no cheapies here. Well, that's nice to see for the Phillies offense. I don't know what Andre said. That wasn't the El Torito sound he got to second, was it?
It was not, no. Maybe he's implemented something new.
He could have. I still like the
horns.
Yeah, because it's not so flashy and flamboyant. It's kind of a little.
But if you get Chase Utley to do it, that means you have to be able to do it more often.
Watch Andre. She gets it. Whoop. Maybe the Frohawk. See how he grabbed like the side of his head and like he was pushing up like the Mohawks that they all have?
I did see it. Tejada has it, throws to first. A one-hop, it goes off Kadyr's glove. Here comes Blanco. He'll score. Ruiz goes to second. Mets are getting a little taste of their own medicine here. Second error of the inning for New York.
It's not going particularly well for the Mets bullpen, Tom.
That's good. Bobby Parnell was the guy who started it with 2 walks, a sac bunt that he threw down the right field line. He has not lifted his head from that position since he sat down. Freddie Galvis is up again. Inside, 1-0. Eight runs this inning, a season high for the Phils.
It's fun.
It is fun. Ow. Off the foot of Galvis. That's not fun. I think all around the Delaware Valley, folks are saying the same thing we're thinking. It's about time.
It's not like they didn't score runs when the Mets were just at CBP.
Very true. wandering around, trying to work off the pain. Scott Sheridan, the Phillies athletic trainer, is near the stairwell. Jim Wolf is going to dust off the clean home plate. Stairs 2-2.
Tom, I'm missing a run here.
Yeah, you are. I can see it. How about Blanco? Second time. After his double.
Oh, yeah.
That is Carlos out at second base. 3-2. Carlos.
You're always there for
Carlos is wearing number 51. And Blanco, a single-digit uniform, top number 4. Murph, confirm that for me. Andres Blanco is wearing number 4 still.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shallow left field. Tejada looks at Conforto, makes the catch, and the side is retired. Well, the Phillies had 3 hits in the inning, but they were big ones. There were also a bunch of walks, 2 errors by the Mets, and an 8-run 6th inning. Middle of the 6th. Phillies up by 10. By Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Bottom of the 6th inning, the Phillies lead it 14-4. And Genmar Gomez will be the new pitcher for the Phillies. Gomez takes over for Hector Neris, who just went a 1/3 of an inning. He was out there to try to stop the bleeding from a 4-run 5th inning. 56th ball game for Genmar. It'll be David Wright, Conforto, and Kadire here in the home 6th.
It's a long half inning.
Long one. That's good though. That was lined into left field, a base hit. That was a sinker that didn't sink. Michael Conforto's coming up. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph?
All right, thanks, guys. Well, as promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Today's photo comes from Caitlin Jacobs. She says, best friends having a great time at the Phillies game. We remind you to tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag Philly Photo Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile. Lots of smiles.
Lots of smiles, Murph. They hadn't even scored 14 runs when that photo was taken. Here is Conforto, who is 1 for 2. He has singled. He's also flied out to center. Pitches on the inside corner, 0-1. Phillies have scored 14 runs tonight. That ties the most in a single game since opening day last year, when they scored 14 runs against the Texas Rangers. So 14. You look at it, you think they haven't scored 14 this year, but they haven't.
No. Still hard to believe that 6 of those 8 runs were unearned.
Yeah, 2 errors. Costly. 2 balls and 1 strike. Aaron Ruff, 6 RBIs tonight. That one's lined out to right field. Here comes Frank Corey. Plays on a hot, throws on the run, and not in time. David Wright gets there ahead of the throw. Second hit of the night for Conforto.
Well played by Frenchie. That's a good-looking young hitter, I tell you. Very risky play. David Wright caught in no man's land, but Frenchie does the right thing, gets the short hop, throws it off one leg to second base, and made this a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Michael Kadire is 0 for 2. He has struck out, and he lined out to left field. Nice play by Altair. Those ABs were against Aaron Harang, who went 4 2/3 tonight, and was charged with 5 hits and 4 runs. 1-0 to Kadire.
Roll one up right here.
Did not come back, that changeup. Gomez thought it was a good pitch. Third base, and it's 2-2.
Dyer's looking for something in right there. Jim Mark has a very good sinker, but he was looking for that sinker in. Seen first movement kind of pulling off the ball right there. Probably get him a little more pine tar while we're at it.
towards center field. Sweeney gets a good jump on it. Wright tags from second, and the throw goes towards second. One gone.
Double play still intact.
Darno has a base hit tonight. He's also walked through the 5th inning, was part of that 4-run inning. Got a good sinker. 91 miles an hour down in the zone. Now, it hasn't been overly consistent with every hitter. There have been a few pitches that have kind of jumped down. Chopper toward third. Blanco charges. He'll get the out at first base. A run does score. And it's 14-5.
Smart play. Get the out. It's been a tough play at second base anyway.
Sean Gilmartin is in the bullpen. Tejada is 1 for 2. He scored a run in the 5th inning after singling. Rally hats. Mets fans are thinking 9 runs, no big deal.
Rally hats in the 6th, huh?
Well,
just when you're down.
When you're down, you're down.
And 9 runs, you do what you can do. How are the speed up rules doing, Tom?
I think Genmar is reverting back to spring training. And it goes hand in hand with some struggles recently, even though his ERA is 2.92. Tim Temple has that one go right by his spikes.
How happy is Travis d'Arnaud that David Wright tug up on that ball that Dyer hit the center? Why are they doing that? You know, you're up 10 runs. Does it really matter? Yeah, it does. Travis d'Arnaud, that's an RBI.
31 now in the year.
And otherwise would have been just a ground ball to third. So yeah, it does matter. There's little things that a captain, a veteran guy will do.
Ball and 2 strikes. Nearly a minute in between pitches for Gomez, and another foul ball. With a 9-run lead, you got to get your infielders moving.
This is
Gives you a chance to do a few things. Freddie Galvis is working on his stance out shortstop.
Take some dental floss out with you.
I was thinking Andre should have brought some dental floss. 1-2 pitch. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Working the gum. Cesar has not really moved. Well, now he does.
I grabbed 3 pieces of gum from the dugout today.
Yeah.
And I chewed it and spit it out about a minute and a half later.
That's wasteful. Foul tip hung on to by Ruiz, and the side is retired. Somebody could have used that gum.
Not wasteful.
Wasteful.
It just gets hard too quickly.
One run scores. Mets leave one. We'll head to the 7th. The 7th inning, Darren Ruff, a career high 6 RBIs. Aaron Harang was 1 out away from having a chance to pick up a victory, and Pete Buchanan took him out. He had just given up 4 runs in the 5th inning. Jonas Cespedes' 2-run home run knocked him out of the ballpark. Jonathan Neese went 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Wilmer Flores takes over as shortstop for the Mets. There he is, and the new pitcher is left-hander Sean Gilmartin. 3-1 with a 2.25 ERA, and Jomar Gomez is going to bat here in the 7th inning.
It ought to be interesting.
Fouls it down the right field line. Granderson gives it a look. And out of play. It's 0-1. Granderson did say that last night a fan did let him know where he was and how much room he had before he was able to catch that. Remember that foul ball?
Yes.
That he caught over toward the stands? Some guys say they don't hear anything. You know, they have it all zoned out, but he heard it pretty clearly. 0-2.
Very vocal fan.
Taps it foul. It remains 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Jim Wolf has really toned it down when he fires the ball back to the pitcher.
I noticed that last time.
It.
Yeah, I noticed that last time the Phillies had him behind home plate. Maybe somebody told him to tone it down. There was a game I remember where he fired it, went right past the pitcher and out into center field.
It happened quite a few times when I had him.
Really, where he would just fire it right back to right past the pitcher?
Yeah, airmail it.
Did you make fun of him?
Doug Eddings would fire it as well. He'd always sling them back. Good swing.
Fouled off the foot of Gomez.
No, I wouldn't make fun of him.
You wouldn't?
No.
What if he had botched a few calls?
I'd talk to him about that. Not so much about throwing the ball around. I might say, trying to move this game along, please.
Swing and a miss. You show that you took a good swing against my fastball. I'm going to show you a breaking ball. So Gomez is struck out. And Darnell Sweeney will come to the plate. Sweeney tonight is 2 for 4. He has 3 RBIs. Picked up his first major league double. That was in his last at bat. Ball that he hit to right center field. 8 runs in the 6th inning tonight, most in 1 inning since September 20th, 2012 here at Citi Field. They scored 8 runs in the first. On the inside corner, 0-1 to Sweeney.
And they did it with just the 1 long ball. Darren Ruff's 3-run homer in the 3rd inning.
0-2. The remarkable thing is the Phillies scored the 8 runs in the 6th. They did so with 3 hits. Capitalized on a bunch of walks and 2 errors. Foul tip and 2 away. Back-to-back strikeouts by Gil Martin. And here comes Cesar Hernandez. Cesar picked up a hit his first time up and then walked his second time. Since that time he's grounded out twice, once to the pitcher and once to second base. Ball and 1 strike.
Change up there by Gil Martin. Stood Caesar up on the first pitch, up and in. He's back down and away with that change up. Caesar well out in front.
Another one hit foul up to the right. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did, says Phil Cuzzy. Gil Martin strikes out the side here in the 7th inning. Nothing across. Time to stretch at Citi Field. Phillies holding on to a 14-5 lead for New York. against Genmar Gomez. Flores batting for the first time. 14 home runs, 54 runs batted in. Came on as part of a double switch when we began the top of the 7th inning. It'll be Flores and then Curtis Granderson, Cespedes, 9-1 and 2. That one's lined, caught by Cesar Hernandez, one away. Every time the Phillies pitchers retired, the opposition 1-2-3, which Aaron Harang did 3 times tonight. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Granderson has an RBI on a little dribbler in front of the plate his last time up.
Straight hang with him for Flores. It's a ball away. Do exactly what you're supposed to do with it. Unfortunately, after you hit it, it's out of your hands.
Hernandez again, backhands this time. And there are 2 outs. Phillies will take on the Chicago Cubs in a 4-game series. Cubs are really playing some good baseball since the All-Star break. Friday, September 11th is the Cabrini College Did Hat free to fans 15 and older. The series wraps up with the day game on Sunday. The Philly Fanatics DVD free to fans 14 and under. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Addison Reed, who the Mets just picked up from the Arizona Diamondbacks, is in the bullpen. Cespedes homered his last time up. He's 1 for 3. In there, 0-1. Outside. 2 balls, 1 strike to Cespedes.
See Genmar with a distinct faster pace out there with nobody on base. Some guys just like to slow it down when there's runners in scoring position, first base, wherever.
And it's 2-2. Now, why is that, do you think, Ben? I understand why Jamie used to do it. I understand why some guys do it. This is a guy who has a 93 at times mile-per-hour sinker.
Right.
And has a good changeup, good breaking ball. I mean, he has positive stuff. Why would he think that he needs to do that?
Just out there overthinking. It's not going to change his stuff. That's what I never understood, why guys slow it down. I mean, when guys get on base, it's not going to change your stuff.
Maybe he gets the hitter antsy. You know, I think that might be part of it, but he doesn't need to do that kind of stuff. I don't think anyway. 2-2 to Cespedes. That one's out toward the alley in right center field. A little drop for a base hit. Cespedes on his way to seconds, and he's thinking 3. He's got some good wheels. And he's there with a triple.
It was easy 3.
It's his second triple in a Mets uniform. 2 extra base hits tonight. And it brings Murphy to the plate.
He really didn't even turn it on until he got to about second base, and then he put it into a different gear. First of all, to hit this pitch, watch where this pitch is. To hit that pitch that far, or that hard, I should say, the other way, that's some good hitting. But watch him just go, I'm gone. Young Ben Davis running out there, Tom.
Yeah, he does. I think Murph and I both thought that. Not you, Ben Davis, but the other Ben Davis, right?
Okay.
1 ball and no strikes to Murphy. Murphy is 0 for 3. He's popped out twice. And he's also grounded out to third. And now Gomez is ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, it could have been you. We were thinking about Cespedes, being a young Ben Davis. You did have 2 triples. and he has 2. He has 2 with the Mets in a month. That one's off the end of the bat into center field and base hit. RBI single by Murphy. Cespedes scores. It's an 8-run game. 14-6. And now David Wright is up.
A lot of pitchers do it also, Tom, to gather themselves, take a cleansing breath. Just seems some pitchers do it more frequently and at a longer clip, I guess you could say, in between pitches. But it doesn't make you attack the hitter different. That's what I'm saying. It's not like because you take longer you're going to change how you pitch to somebody.
No one's up the third base line, and it rolls foul. A little kick save and a butte for Andres Blanco. 0-2. Toward left field. A 1/2 off the wall. Murphy will stop at third. It's a double for David Wright. And Conforto will be the batter. There's nobody warming up for the bullpen, so this is Gomez's inning.
All this with 2 outs.
All this with 2 outs. Bob McClure is going to head out to the mound.
Shows you how hard this ball was hit. Sinker down and in. David Wright as good as anybody at staying inside a baseball to keep that ball fair. You can inside out him with the best of them. But that ball, obviously Murphy's going to be off to the races with 2 outs. That shows you how hard that ball was hit for Altero to get to it in left field, and Murphy was not even close to being able to score.
Close. I don't know if he didn't see it right away, if he thought that
Doesn't
there was
matter.
a chance it was out. I'm with
There's
you.
2 outs.
Very true. So Bob McClure heads back to the dugout after a quick meeting. And it will be Conforto. Steve McKenna just asked Bob McClure to get somebody else up. Phone's going to ring, I would think, in a moment. Garcia is throwing. Let's see if Rod Nichols gets somebody else up in the pen.
nip this thing in the bud right here.
Absolutely. It's not often that Gomez is going to throw this many pitches in an outing. This is probably his last batter. Cuddyer is up next. 3 balls, no strikes to Conforto. Little dribbler, and it is a foul ball. Never got in front of the plate. Jim Wolf got out pretty quick to see it. 3-2.
Conforto, the 10th overall pick in last year's draft out of Oregon State. Dad played football at Penn State. Mom was a synchronized swimmer. It's in the genes.
Knock all the mud out. Three balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. And a liner to center field. Sweeney is there.
Everything he hits is hard.
Yep. Side is retired. A run does score on 3 hits, 2 men left. Aaron Altair will lead it off for the Phillies as we go to the top of the 8th inning here at Citi Fields. Now Toyota, let's go places. And buy McDonald's. Double the love it at McDonald's with a double cheeseburger and small fry for just $2.50. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Well, the Phillies lead at 14-6 as we move to the top of the 8th inning. Time now for our Hyundai defensive play of the game. Cuddyer was up, and Altair was off his feet.
Gets a good jump, a good read on this ball. Coming in, making a diving catch on Michael Cuddyer. Aaron Orang appreciates it, and that is your Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
Eric Campbell comes on to play third base. Juan Uribe is in to play second base. The new right fielder is Eric Young Jr. In center field, it's Kirk Neuenhuis. And the new catcher is Kevin Plawecki. And the new pitcher for the Mets is Addison Reed, who a few years ago was the closer for the Arizona Diamondbacks. But but doesn't have the same fastball or command. Although just 14 walks. He had 3 saves with the Arizona Diamondbacks this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. Inside, 2-1. Mets had put a waiver claim in on Mark Zepchinski. That was all the reports that they had done that. San Diego Padres, but the Padres decided to pull him back off waivers, which they were allowed to. So then they turned their attention to Addison Reed, who was put on waivers by the Diamondbacks, and the Mets were able to get him. Terry Collins wanted a lefty. They don't really have a left-hander. That one's lined to center field. Neuenhuis makes the catch.
Ball hit well.
Yeah, right on the nose by Aaron Altair. Time for the Major League Notebook. Here's Greg Murphy.
All right, thanks, Tom. Brought to you by St. Joseph's University. One of the rarest plays in baseball executed today in Denver. A triple play by the Rockies. The victim, well, Paul Goldschmidt and the Diamondbacks with runners on first and second. The runners were off and running. Goldschmidt hit a line drive to the shortstop. 6-4-3 for the triple play. However, Rockies still lost that game 6-4. And you ready to feel old? How about this? They are 20-year anniversary of Cal Ripken's 2,131st game. The Iron Man streak is coming up on September the 6th. The Orioles celebrated that today at Camden Yards. Cal Ripken was at the yard. He had actually been in a bicycling accident earlier in the day, guys. He flipped over his handlebars, hurt his shoulder. Yeah, was able to still get out there on the field. Iron Man to the very end. But 20 years ago, September 6th, it was, so in about a week, but the Orioles are on the road next week, so celebrating tonight. That makes me feel old.
It makes me feel old, too. I don't know where you guys were when that happened. I was actually in a rest area on the Pennsylvania Turnpike coming back from a minor league baseball game at that time.
I'll tell you where I was. I was working for a sports memorabilia company at the time, and we were selling autographed Cal Ripken memorabilia on QVC while that was all happening.
Way to capitalize, Murph.
Yeah, oh yeah, they made a lot of money on that.
Ben, what city were you
I
in?
made 0, but they made a boatload.
I believe I was in Idaho Falls.
Idaho Falls?
20 years ago, I was 18.
Young dude.
In rookie ball.
We didn't even know you back then.
No.
1 ball, 1 strike to Darren Ruff. It's amazing. That was 20 years ago. Off the mound, Uribe has it. And a quick inning for Addison Reed. Ball picked by Kadire over at first. 4-3 on the putout. Nothing across. Bottom of the 8th. Phillies lead it. Friday the 11th. All fans 15 and older will receive the knit hat compliments of Cabrini College. If you want tickets for any of the 4 games against the Chicago Cubs, don't forget to head over to Phillies.com. You can purchase them right now. 14-6, Phillies on top. Bottom of the 8th inning. Luis Garcia will take over. Pete Macadam wants this game. He is not fooling around. It's got Garcia pitching here in the bottom of the 8th inning. He'll face Michael Kadire to lead it off. Now, I don't think we'll see Ken Giles, but he wants to make sure. I mean, he was joking today a little bit when he asked him, "We're going to win tonight, right?" But he really wants to end this streak. He said he's tired of watching the Mets score runs. Swing and a miss by Kadire. It's 0-1.
Scorecard is a mess, Tom.
Well, you give me a good practice for Clearwater next spring. Just missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Anybody hear from Matt at all about his charity event? Murph, did you hear from Matt at all about his charity event?
No, I reached out to him yesterday before the event and wished him luck, but no, have not heard the
final totals.
The final totals yet.
Ben, have you heard from our Canadian friend?
I have not. I'm sure it went well.
I'm sure it might even still be going on. He had so many auction items that he was auctioning off.
He does such a good job with planning that and everything that goes into it.
That one's tapped foul and remains 1-2. We had so many jerseys in our office.
Yeah, we did.
We could have worn one, each of us, for like 5 straight days on the air if we wanted to. Kadire set, so is Garcia. 1-2 pitch. Outside, 2-2. A lot of news going on around baseball from a Phillies standpoint. Congratulations to Brian Bogusevic, who was named to the International League postseason All-Star team. Bogusevic hit .297 this year, or is hitting .297 with 12 home runs, 57 RBIs, and 135 hits. And if there was one area where the Phillies didn't really need to, in their eyes, bring anybody up, it was probably in the outfield, because they've had a number of guys that, younger guys that are part of the outfield lineup. Altair, Sweeney, Odubel, Ben Revere early this season. 3-2 to Kadire.
Heck of an at bat.
It sure was.
By Kadire.
I think Pete's a little frustrated by that at bat.
It shows you a veteran guy in Michael Kadire not giving away any at bats. It's your trade. It's your profession.
Here's Plawecki this year at AAA, 224 with a home run and 9 RBIs. He's also been up here to the big leagues, where he's hit .228 with 2 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Outside, 1-0. Eric Goodell warming up in the pen. Bob McClure coming out. Hate to say it, but I think he had to. And Luis is missing with that fastball.
gather yourself. A good extension. Don't worry about the runner at first. Stare at the mitt and execute your pitch. Pretty much all you can tell them at this point. Where we are in this ball game.
Outside again, 2-0. Chopper left side. That's going to be a tough play if it stays fair, but it does go foul. It's even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Back to first base goes Kadire. Milwaukee will pick up his bat and head back toward the plate. Last 30 games, the National League East has been one-sided. Mets are 21-9 during that time. The Phillies have the next best record at 14-16. Washington's at 12-18. Miami's at 11-19, and the Braves are 8-22. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Phillies are still 5 games above 500 since the All-Star break at 23-18. They got to start stringing some wins together here. Efficient inning for Luis Garcia. 14 pitches, still nobody out, and he's got the count 3 balls and 2 strikes to Milwaukee. Over to third, foul again. Michael Franco still with that guard on his arm. He's been doing a lot of running in the outfield before ball games. Ball 4. It's exasperating. Kirk Neuenhuis will be the batter.
I don't think that man's very happy.
No. The only one that goes through more seeds during a baseball game than Greg Murphy. That's Larry Boa.
Murph and I dusted off a bag just before the game, just hanging out in the dugout.
Yeah, you messed up the very clean dugout.
It was inevitable, Tom.
There's a fastball for a strike. 0-1. Neuenhuis this year 203. That's between the Mets and the Angels. Actually, the Mets twice, the Angels once. The Mets, he's hitting 188 with 3 home runs. Ground ball to second. That might be 2. Hernandez to second for 1. And a 4-6-3 double play. That's money.
Useful.
Over to third base goes Kadire. 2 away, and Flores will bat.
A hard hit ball, but about as tailor-made as you could get it. Cesar with a very good feed to Freddie. Chest high. Freddie with the relay to first. Hopefully Luis can get out of this with no runs.
Slider that Jim Wolf gave up on, it looked like it still was inside, but it was coming back. And now it's 2-0 to Wilmer Flores. This has not been a good night for Luis Garcia. He's thrown 20 pitches, 10 strikes, 10 balls. And that one's out toward right center field, and that'll drop for a base hit. RBI single for Wilmer Flores.
Leadoff walks.
That's 14-7.
I don't care the score. Baseball is such a great game. I talked about Flores' last at bat and a pitch away from him off Jinmar Gomez. Hits a bullet, and I mean a bullet. Cesar Hernandez at short. Nothing to show for it. Next at bat, flares one end to right field.
This is how the Phillies felt last week, where they would score a bunch of runs and the Mets would win it. That's what's happening here tonight. Eric Young Jr. up for the first time. 169. As a member of the Atlanta Braves, since that one is shortstop, Galvis has got it. They'll go the short way, and the side is retired. One run does score for the Mets. They get a run on one hit. There were 2 walks, 1 man left on base. We'll head to the 9th inning here at Citi Field. The Phillies lead is at 7. Stay tuned after the game. Ricky Vitalco provides full analysis and recaps of tonight's ball game. Only on Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Post Game Live. Along with Ben Davis and Greg Murphy, I'm Tom McCarthy. Nice to be with you from Citi Field. Final game of this series will be tomorrow night. Same time, same channel. Eric Goodell will enter the ball game for the Mets, added back to the roster today. A 1.96 earned run average in 22 ball games. Well, the starters tonight, Aaron Harang went 4 2/3. He allowed 5 hits and 4 earned runs. Jonathan Neese lasted 5. He allowed 6 earned runs and 7 hits. Neither starter will fare, or excuse me, Aaron Harang will not fare in the decision. Jonathan Neese can still fare in the decision tonight on the losing side.
And if all goes according to plan, Hector Neris will be your winner of the ball game after throwing 3 pitches.
Yeah, you got the last out.
3 pitches. Elvis with the best vulture of the year, throwing one pitch right
here. Andres Blanco leads it off and fouls it away. Dalia Hinojosa is warming up in the bullpen for the Phillies. Looks like it will be Hinojosa. No, that's Jerome Williams now that's warming up. It was Hinojosa a little while ago. At the knees, no balls and 2 strikes to Blanco. There's Jerome. Curveball tapped off the glove of Goodell, picked up by Uribe. Big man can still move a little bit.
Still has a great arm. Again, one of my few remaining teammates that's still out on the diamond.
Oh, really? White Sox.
White Sox.
Well, reminder tomorrow we're back here. Aaron Nola against Matt Harvey, 7 o'clock on Comcast Sportsnet. So if you see him, does he say, "Hey, Ben, hey, Big Irish," or does he walk by and say, "Man, I know that guy from somewhere"?
It's probably like, "I know that guy from somewhere."
Here's Ruiz, who takes upstairs 1-0.
No, I've seen him. He's a funny cat.
Every time you see one of your old teammates, you should take a photo with him.
He had a tough time saying Mark Burley, so he called him Bailey.
Mark Bailey.
So everyone on the team called Burles Bailey.
He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would mind something like that.
No.
2-1. Fly ball down the left field line. Conforto is over toward the seats, but it'll be back in as a souvenir. The end of that foul, and it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Around the National League East, the Marlins have beaten the Braves. How about Shelby Miller last night? Did you see that he lost again? Lost out on a victory again. He's 0-11 in his last 19 starts with an ERA of 3.13. He wasn't even supposed to start. He arrived at the ballpark at about 2:30, and they asked him if he would start the game. I can't remember what the issue was, but he started. I said, sure, I'll take it. But you hear 0-11, you don't think the next number will be 3.13 for the earned run average. You're thinking at least 7, 8. He's lost every odd way for the Atlanta Braves.
You could take your whip, your WAR, all those other stats. That it's a stat for everything nowadays, but in my humble opinion, the ERA is still the #1 stat.
I would agree with you on that. I like whip, but I would agree with you about the ERA. Campbell throws out Ruiz. Well, there are 2 outs. I don't know if I'm in the overall category that win-loss record is bogus. But I do think that there are other numbers. I think strikeouts per innings, I think whip, and I think earned run average obviously are 3 really important numbers to look at when you look at starting pitchers or any pitcher.
Yeah, but if you have a low ERA, aren't you giving your team the best chance to win?
Absolutely.
It's whether it's up to them. It's up to that offense that's going to decide whether you have a W or an L next to your name when you pick up the paper the next day.
Well, we know that ERA is important for a relief pitcher. We look at that. I look at that all the time. I don't know if you do. But for a starter, I would agree with you. I mean, I think in the American League, if it's 3.7 or 3.6. That's not awful in the American League. If it's in the low threes, high twos in the National League, well, it's still pretty good. You don't have to always look at the win-loss record. 0-2 to Freddie Galvis with 2 outs here in the top of the 9th inning. Out to center field, Neuenhuis goes back a step. 1-2-3 inning. So that'll put a close on the top of the 9th here at Citi Field. Phillies need to get 3 more outs to end this losing streak against the New York Mets. They've lost 10 straight to the Mets. Mets trying to get 3 more outs, and Jerome Williams is going to be called upon to be the guy to get those 3 outs. Jerome 4-2 or 4-10, excuse me, with 6.06 ERA. This will be his 3rd relief appearance of the season, and he will face Cespedes. I'm sorry, he will face Uribe, Campbell, Conforto here in the bottom of the 9th. Actually, minor adjustment here. It's Uribe, Campbell, pitcher spot. Oof. Forgot we turned this into a spring training game a couple innings ago. But the Mets did not line up the players that came in.
No, they didn't.
For the players whose spots they took.
That's why I needed so much whiteout.
1 ball and 1 strike to Juan Uribe. Hitting .254 with 13 home runs, 38 runs batted in. Over toward the hole. Galvis backhands. He'll spin the throw to first in time. Fine play. And 1 away.
Very nice play.
Yeah, I think if it was a faster runner, he would have done that jump throw that he did last week. I think when he realized it was Uribe, he had plenty of time to kind of glide and set.
Still gets rid of it quickly. Perfect. Write the letters for Darren Ruff at first base.
Here's Campbell, 179. 3 home runs, and he'll get an extra base hit out of that one. Altair will take it off the wall. And Juan Lagares is going to pinch hit. So 1 out double.
Oh joy, another cross out.
Yeah, we're going to get you a bigger score sheet.
I like my score sheet. Yours isn't that much bigger.
No, it's not. We have different styles how we put the extra players in. Yours is probably better. That you wouldn't lose track as much. So we got a miss, and it's 0-1. Oh, white out.
I went through a number of different types and fonts, I guess you could say, in spring training. This is the same one that Matt uses. I enjoy it.
You know where that score sheet came from?
Where?
Just to give a history lesson. And I gave it to Matt. We have a much larger version.
It always has to come back to you, doesn't it?
It does not. No, I'm not trying to do it. It actually is coming back to. It's coming back to Jim Hunter, who does the Baltimore Orioles studio show and does some play-by-play. Used to be their main play-by-play guy on TV. That is, and Jim doesn't know. No, he does know you guys use it. That is Jim Hunter's score sheet.
Very cool.
Yeah. Oh. That bounced off the seat, thankfully. It's 0-2. The only difference is Jim uses, I think it's 11 by 15. So we shrunk that baby down.
Gotcha. I think this is a standard 8 by 10.
Yeah. 0-2 pitch coming to Lagares. That one's chopped over to third. Blanco backs up on it. Long throw over to first on one hop, and it's not in time. Over to third base goes Campbell.
Got down the line.
And Conforto will be the batter. I'm just going through the rhythm of it again to see how he could have done it differently. Ooh, he's out.
Andres kind of gets caught in between with this, but it does look like he is going to be.
And he looks out.
Just a matter of whether or not Darren kept that toe, that right toe, on the bag.
They're going to decide not to challenge it. That's interesting.
Maybe his foot did come off the bag.
Well, but it's worth. I mean, listen. There's different ideas about challenge. It's worth it at this point to challenge. It's the bottom of the ninth inning. You have to ask the umpires to do it. You have the challenge. It's late in the game.
And I'm hungry.
0-1. I mean, if they have that replay, just as we do, so Major League Baseball it is, so they would see it. And if it's too close to call, there's really no harm. You'll still have an opportunity if you see something to request a review after that. The umpires don't have to grant it, but at this point in the game, I think they would do it anyway. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Conforto. Fly ball right field. Jeff Francoeur is under it. Campbell will tag at third. Let's see if Francoeur. Nope, he won't let it go. Lagares was halfway and a sac fly. And it's a 14-8 ball game. Conforto has an RBI. That's his 15th since being brought up to the big leagues. Pete Buchanan said last night, he said, we got to start winning these games. He said, there's no two ways about it. We have to beat them tomorrow night. Now, sometimes when Pete talks, a lot of it is half joking, but he was serious today. He said, we're going to do everything we can to win this ball game. Not that we don't usually do that, but we've let the guys know how important it is to end this streak right here. A 10-game losing streak to the New York Mets. Phillies have lost 23 of 27 to the Mets and 13 of 14 this year. Goes, pitches lifted in the air to shallow right field. Francoeur says he has it. He's under it, and he makes the catch, and the 10-game losing streak to the New York Mets is over. The Phillies win it 14-8 tonight here at Citi Fields. Our Chevrolet player of the game, Darren Ruff, a home run, 2 singles, a career-high 6 RBIs. Phillies needed all these runs to hold off the Mets. 14 runs on 10 hits for the Phils, 8 runs on 13 hits for the New York Mets. Wasn't always easy this ball game for Pete Buchanan and the Philadelphia Phillies, but they kept on piling on, and that was huge that they were able to do that.
It was huge, and they came back to the Mets with 4 runs of their own in the 5th. But Darren Ruff really got it going early. 3-run homer. It's a little slider cutter down and in. Golfs it out to left inning. Then comes up with another, pretty much the same pitch. Drills that ball down the line. This, I think, the hardest ball hit all night for Darren Ruff. To single up the middle to score another 2. Just staying on balls. Even his last at bat hit a ball very, very hard. Looked very good at the plate tonight. And he is your W.B. Mason delivery of the game. And he's also the player of the game. And he's with our very own Greg Murphy. Murph?
All right. Thank you very much. Up here with Darren Ruff. And, yeah, a good game for you. A terrific game for you. 6 RBIs, a new career high. The big blow, obviously, to get things started was the 3-run homer. Take us through that at bat.
Yeah, he started me off with a few fastballs. I think I took the first, swung through the second, and then with 2 strikes, I was just trying to battle, fouled another one off. And then he went back to his curveball, and saw it a few times my first at bat, and he left that one out over the plate a little bit more, and put a good swing on it.
You've had so much success this year against the left-handers, but in your 3rd at bat, you get the 2 RBIs with the base hit off the right-hander. That has to feel pretty good as well.
Yeah, come up in a big spot. They kind of. Well, I thought they were going to pitch around Frenchie, and they kind of did in the end. But, yeah, it's nice to come up in a big spot like that and driving a few more runs. Against a team like this, you need as many runs as possible. So the fact that we could add on 2 from me and then Whitey picked up another 2, that was big for us.
So much has been talked about. I know your manager has talked about it at length. 10 straight losses to these guys until tonight. There's a lot of pride in that clubhouse. How nice is it to get a win over these guys?
Yeah, it's been a long year for us against the Mets, and to come out and put up 14 was nice. They kept battling, though, and when a team has your number like that, you never have that safe feeling until the last out in the 9th inning is made. So we battled all game, and luckily we got one here.
And the streak is over. It's good to say. Darren, great game for you guys. Let's send it back upstairs.
All right, Murph, we appreciate that. Some smiles from the Phils. They were able to pull away with a 14-8 victory over the New York Mets. We'll be back to Citi Field in just a few moments to wrap things up.